fan. I'm a fan of their platform, and they even have some low cost ETFs. So they're a good company.
Yeah, I like how you broke it down though, man. As far as like how stocks are pretty much performing well over the years. I mean, they excuse me, they've historically performed well, and I think you put a graph on there about as far as like money market and bonds and stuff like that really doesn't perform as much. You won't get as a pop more rate of return on your money than you will in the stock market. And you just pretty much you was all over my point. Rather than just doing individual investments, if it really seems a little bit too risky or too complicated, get those ETFs, man. Because I had a fund, man. I was in one before I got laid off from corporate America. I had a fund with Fidelity that was similar to the S&P 500. That joker had made like about 8-9% return rate of return on that, man. I'm like, woo woo, let's go get it, I like that though, man, because I felt that I was in something that was helping me out. Because we talking S&P 500, right? We talking about what the top performing stocks. So if you getting anything within that, man, as you said, some ETF that's similar to that. I personally know that I had good success with that though, man, and I really like that because when you looking and you seeing that more money is coming in versus some of the investments that you make, I mean that's enough to make you motivated, right? I mean, to get you excited about making some of these moves out here.
And the coolest part, man, is let's say you bought, like all those apps that I told you, the Wealthfront, the Betterment, the Acorn. They're basically going to build you a globally diversified portfolio. And so I like to break every investment portfolio down into an idea, like one simple idea. And the idea when you buy a globally diversified portfolio is you're basically saying, I'm going to bet that humanity will continue to evolve for the positive. Meaning, like forever since humans have been around, we've always created a better quality of life 10 and 20 years from now, right? We haven't gone backwards despite what people always think, right? We always are moving forward. We've never moved backwards. And so when you globally diversify, just by nature, yes, some companies are going to go out of business, and then some companies are going to become dominant. But if you own them all, automatically your portfolio owns less of the stuff that's not as valuable and going out of business and more of the stuff that is doing well. And so you're buying, human evolution, right? And you're saying, I want to participate in that. Because by the way, like if we don't evolve and get better, then where can you put your money? Like real estate's going down, the money in your banks are probably going to like not exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no other place for your money if we don't continue to evolve. But why would you bet against, thousands or millions of years, depending on where you are on that argument? Why would you bet against humans continuing to evolve? There's no upside to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like,
No
hey,
doubt. No
just
doubt. You're right.
bet on the future.
You're right about that, man. So out of Acorn or Stash, man, which one do you like the best, man? Like as far as people, because I know people come to me all the time like, man, I know you talk about finances and stuff like that. Who do you like, whatever. I'm like, well, I don't know.
I don't think you do better. I mean, I don't think just like most mutual funds or most ETF companies are gonna earn about the same over time.
Yeah.
Most of whether it's Wealthfront, Betterment, Acorn, Stash, they're all going to earn about the same over time. My money, and I manage my clients' money through Betterment. And I like their they were just first to doing this thing, and I like their interface. It's easy, but all of them are easy. And so I could have picked Wealthfront, or I could have picked another one. I don't think it really matters.
Okay. Now, compared to like Fidelity and things of that nature, though, would those services are easier to deal with? Are they less cost versus the Fidelity, or?
Yeah. So what they're doing is these are just technology companies, and they're going to build a portfolio of ETFs. So in the Betterment portfolios are like Vanguard ETFs and BlackRock ETFs or Goldman Sachs ETFs. Some of the other ones might use Fidelity ETFs. I don't know. But they're just going to build the portfolios with ETFs, right? They don't have their own. They're just the technology to say, hey, we will manage this in a way that's going to be best for your goal and build the portfolio for you. That's what they're doing.
Okay. Now, is there a minimum, like with the Betterment Wealth Management, is there like a minimum that people have to get started? I know a lot of times with certain accounts, you have to like a minimum amount to put the money to work for you.
Nope, you can put $5 in. Acorn and Stash will let you put in your change. They'll let you invest your spare change like your bank does.
Okay, Acorn is that. So Betterment, you can start with whatever. The reason why I asked that because when I started my retirement stuff again, my IRA with Fidelity again, I had to start refunding it, and I only had like $25 or $30 in there right now, but it's kind of just sitting there, not really not really working, doing anything as far as the money is concerned because I don't have enough to start investing the way I was when I had the IRA. So I'm thinking in my mind, man, of maybe moving into like the Betterment Wealth or something like that to start putting that little bit of money to work because with Fidelity, again, I have to have a certain amount in there to start it working rather than it just sit, so I'm thinking it just conversating with you. I'm thinking I may go with the Betterment Wealth Management site and put that 25 in there, transfer it to my account and put the 25 in there and then just start building it from that point because that money can start making money for me.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's why that's how those platforms got big. Betterment went from like $0 to like $10 billion in like 10 years because they didn't have minimums. They made it super easy. They built it around like the 22-year-old, 25-year-old Silicon Valley folks that worked at Google and Facebook that didn't have money to come to a wealth manager, but they wanted the similar services, and so they grew from the people, and they were built for the people.
Exactly. I like that. And that's what I'm talking about right there. Now, because again, now you can tell I'm leaning toward this Betterment Wealth Management. So probably sometime today, I probably will be starting an account with those guys. Now, but as far as is it an app that you go to or is it bettermentwealthmanagement.com? How does an individual get there? If some of the listeners want to go there, how would they get there?
Yeah, you can go to betterment.com. They have an app too, but I would start on the desktop because you can get a better experience when you're setting it up. But then you can download the app to see everything, and you can still interact from the app, but the desktop and the app look different.
Okay, cool. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm probably going to be doing some Betterment today. Transfer that money for Fidelity and go throw it into Betterment because it's going to be the same thing because I like those ETFs, as you say. I'm a fan of ETFs, man, because especially those top-performing ETFs because, as you say, you're not at the risk of just buying one stock because in order to get the benefit of buying Coca-Cola stock, you got to buy a bunch of Coca-Cola stock, right, to start getting the dividends and stuff. But if you got an ETF full of stocks that pays dividends and all that, you can just reinvest those dividends right back into it again and just continue to let that money keep growing and going, man. I ain't want to step on your financial plan, but see, I know a little something. I know a little something, Phillip. I know a little something.
Yeah. Well, and the other part is, I'm like, as much as I love Facebook and Amazon as individual stocks, like there'll be no chance that I'll ever own more than 10% of my total liquid net worth in each stock because, like, I like the CEOs. But at the end of the day, they can do something to like tank the company that I can't control, and so that I always call it the CEO risk factor. If you're investing in individual stocks, you can know that company well. You can like the CEO; it could be the best CEO of all time, but the CEO can also be the Enron guy and be lying, and the stock goes to zero, 2 weeks from now. So.
Speaking of lying and stock going to zero and things of that nature, what's your opinion on this Bitcoin phenomenon?
Man, I just think, so there's like a rule, man. It's called the railroad principle. I never invest in new industries because when you look at history, you can look at the railroads, you can look at the gold rush, you can look at technology, Bitcoin. Whenever there's a new technology, it's next to impossible to make any money, right? Almost the people a lot of money rushes in and it lays the infrastructure for the industry, but almost everybody loses money except for a few lucky few, that just got out at the right time on accident. And people like Mark Cuban even tell you, say, man, I was just lucky. Like, if he cashed out a year later, he wouldn't own the Dallas Mavericks and would probably have nothing. So it's whenever you invest, I never invest too early because there's always human hype around early, and a lot of money goes in, and there's not a clear winner, right? So you're just kind of guessing. I don't like to guess when I invest. And so what everybody was excited about is the technology behind cryptocurrency, which is the blockchain, because the blockchain, basically, without going too geek on you, has the ability to do what the internet is doing. So the internet is just starting to kill industries, meaning like Amazon, after 20 years of being in business, just took down Toys R Us. Right?
Yeah,
it took
man.
20 years.
Took them down.
But they're the first of like many. You know what I mean? Like they're the first of a whole lot of retailers about to go down, And so it took the internet 20 years. Blockchain, same thing. Blockchain basically eliminates the need for banks or governments for title companies because it's basically, let's say you're still in your industry, as a mortgage guy, and you get a client who wants to buy property from another client. They can just say, hey, bro, here's my key. You can access my data, see the money is good. And then they can just say, here's the key. You can see I own the property. Let's say it's good. Let's just exchange it, money for property, and the deal is done. Like, no title companies are needed. Like, very, very few middlemen are needed, period. And so it's going to, crumble a whole lot of business as well. But it's early, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Early. And just like it took, I don't know if it's going to take 20 years or 5 years or 40 years, but people are getting excited about the idea of what it could do. And you'll find that most people who are invested in it, they couldn't articulate what I just did. They just invested because they were like, man, it's going up and it's making money. And that's always the dumbest way to invest.
I can't lie, man. I bought me some Bitcoin a while ago, right? And as soon as I made money out of my initial investment, cash out. I can't smooth out on the bad boy. I can't smooth out, man. I'm not gonna lie. I did because I'm like, hold on, this is gonna be it's not gonna work for me well because, like you said, there's too much risk involved and stuff. And unless you have, like I said, just money really to waste, a lot of times, investing is risky, right? Because you never really know what it's gonna do. There's no such thing, I guess, as a sure thing. But again, with that, I think a lot of time, man, people were new to it, and a lot of people that look like us, brother, was jumping on it, man, 24/7. And I'm like, man, here we go again. Same thing with Forex. I see a lot of people selling Forex and stuff like that through the iMarkets Live and stuff like that. I've heard good things about it. I've heard bad things about it. So it's just I'm just seeing so much that. And again, a lot of the faces look like ours, brother. And we jump on this next thing, this next wave. But a lot of times we end up holding the bag.
Yeah, hey man, we all had the tortoise and the hare read to us when we were kids, and we all forget about it, man. We all are looking for that lotto ticket. A lot of folks will tell me with Bitcoin or Forex, they were like, they'll tell me, yeah, Philip, I know I shouldn't be investing for the short term, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make some short term money with Forex, and I'm going to give it to you for the long term. I'm like, that is the dumbest shit I ever heard. You know what I mean? Like you just told me you understood that you shouldn't invest short term, but the equivalent of what you said is, Philip, I know I shouldn't buy lotto tickets, but I'm gonna just keep buying lotto tickets until I hit the lottery, and then I give you my money and invest for the long term. Like, that doesn't make any sense. If it was that easy, there would be a whole lot more billionaires. And if you can make money with that surety, why would you ever stop and then give it to me for the long term? You know what I mean? Like if you can make $100,000 that fast in the short term, then why would you stop?
You wouldn't need to, right? They wouldn't need you, right? They wouldn't need you anything else because the money just, as you say though, it's not as easy as people make it seem. But see, that's sales though, brother. That's sales marketing. That's attraction marketing, right? That's what it does. Why you think Mattress Mac up here in Houston, man, right? He sells furniture, right? Up here, the gallery furniture and everything. Got a bunch of different stores. Been selling furniture for years. This man still does commercials. He still's on television. His daughter's on the television with him now slanging furniture. Now, you would think that he probably had made quite a bit of money selling his furniture, right? But he's still advertising to you. He's still promoting his product to you that you're going to want to go buy. So people, they'll put it in people's faces to make it look good and put all the bells and whistles on front of it. But at the same thing, it's fool's gold. And a lot of times, man, we'll fall for that, man, that fool's gold or that shiny object syndrome, if you will. And a lot of times, man, we end up holding the bag because, as you know, most financial guys will say, what do you have saved up? Do you have an emergency fund? If you put some money over here, if something goes bad in the market, will you be okay if you lose this money, right? Because there are risks that are involved. And I think, man, a lot of times, man, we just have to stop being so easily manipulated for the next big thing. you know, for the next wave or the next, like I said, the next big break that we're going to have. It takes work. It takes effort. It takes a plan. It takes commitment. It takes time. I mean, I know we're living in this microwave society where you can just push a button and you warm up, voila, hot food. But a lot of times we got to take an oven-bake approach to this thing. And that's why I like what you do, though, man, Phillip. You know, take this oven-bake approach to it and really know what you're getting into. You know,